What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Weeds Weekly with yours truly, Kevin Weedmark, where I'm going to dive into what happened this past week in the markets. What do we got coming up this week? We're going to talk about thinking smaller, and we're also going to talk about getting ahead of the holidays. So let's dive right in. And the other promise that I have is I'm going to start keeping these under 10 minutes, right? I got to keep these under 10 minutes. I love to talk. If you know me, we can sit down over a cup of coffee and yap. I just love it. I love people. I love the whole experience. So if you're up for that, let me know. Let's do that. But we need to start keeping this under 10 minutes. So let's dive right in. Number one is it looks like the markets to me are loving the status quo. And that's really what we had last week. If we recall, right, it was Thanksgiving. So we had a short week. And all data points other than new home sales, which now look like they might not be so sexy. Maybe they're not going to be under the Christmas tree. It's not going to be something Santa hands away this year. New home sales were down aggressively. They missed the mark by over 100,000. But every other number, every other data set, even inflation, although a little bit higher, came right in at forecasts and all of the numbers right around. So it looked like traders were like, you know what? We like this. We like the fact that everything's kind of status quo. And what it did is it actually helped rates come down a little bit. So rates went down anywhere from about an eighth to a quarter, and that was across the board. So that was the great news of last week. However, the one thing, right, we keep saying it, we keep talking about it all the time, is inflation. It's like a bad rash. It will just not go away, right? We can put stuff on it, we can talk about it, but it just keeps coming back and it just keeps showing up at 2.8%, and it just does not want to seem to go anywhere. So that was the big takeaways from last week. This week, all we're going to talk about is jobs. And that's going to be starting tomorrow, right? We got jobs. We got JOLTS, we got ADP, we got initial jobless claims, we got non-farm payrolls, we got GDP. Jobs are going to dominate this week as far as anything that we're really going to talk about. Now we got all our geopolitical stuff and things like that, but all eyes are really going to be on that. The other thing that we have is we have Fed Chairman Powell speaking again. And at some point, is he ever going to shut his yapper? It seems like he talks all the time. It's the same rhetoric all the time. But what we're starting to see is a little bit of conflict between the incoming administration, which wants to see rates come down because they believe that, we're going to become energy independent. By becoming energy independent, we're going to lower prices. We're going to lower the price of services and goods. That's going to be non-inflationary. So let's move those interest rates. You're going to see the Fed. I don't know if he's going to give away any indication on what they plan to do on December 18th. Once again, yours truly believes, don't do a damn thing. Let the lag effect come in a little bit. We can reduce again once we pop into January. We get the new administration coming in. We see a little bit more about maybe policies that they're going to implement right away. And then the Fed can react to that. Why do we always need to jump ahead? But the one thing that we're going to get, which is going to be exciting coming up on the December 18th, and not necessarily exciting, maybe that's not the right word, but we're going to get a new dot plot. We're going to see where all the Fed members believe and perceive that the Fed funds rate will be heading into 2025 and into 2026. So that's the great news. But that's going to be the big news of the week is going to be jobs. What does that look like? Where did GDP come in? And that is a potential for some volatility, a little bit maybe of a bumpy ride with interest rates this week. But if the numbers come in exactly where they are, it's going to be flat. We are just going to hold steady in this pattern until the end of the year. All right, so let's talk about thinking smaller. So when we talk about affordability all the time, we're seeing a big common trend of a lot of families, especially first-time home buyers, moving towards smaller homes. Actually, one of the biggest terms used this past year, about a 35% increase in the language when the agents put verbiage in the description of the home, was the word cozy. The other thing we're seeing is year after year now, we are seeing a decline in what the average size of a home is. I think it went from about 2,300 down to about 2,100. So what we're seeing is just an overall with the open concept, and now that we're not having as many people possibly working out of their homes. During the pandemic, it was a big I'm going to work out of my home and everything like that. We're seeing a lot of people now take the shift. They're going back into the office. They kind of lived out of the house. They're like, maybe it's not for me. Maybe I like an office, get away a little bit, remove the, the whole home aspect where that's a place I rest, relaxation. I spend it with my family, with my spouse, with my loved one, where I can get to the office and I can get back. Now, the office needs to be close. But again, I think that concept is kind of worn off, that we need these big houses with the big bedrooms and everything like that. It's moving more to that small side. So as agents, I like to think outside the box. And with that and anticipating that builders are doing that, and if we're working exclusively with existing homes, one thing that we should be doing is, as we're showing homes, we need to be able to paint a vision for our clients. We need to have essentially a contractor on speed dial that can potentially come into a home and say, hey, for X dollars, you're going to be able to make this a little bit more of an open concept. We can put a small office if you want a home office over here, and you're going to be able to work with the space of a 2,000 square foot home or a 2,200 square foot home when they're looking at maybe 2,600 just because of that additional room it may have. But if you just made some adjustments to that existing house in a better location and you have the dollar point for them, that might be something that they will consider. I think that is going to be a growing trend as affordability and higher interest rates remain persistent. And I think that is something that you really need to consider, and we as agents need to consider out there on how to help our clients move through that process. And then lastly, let's get ahead of the holidays. So often, and just looking at Thanksgiving, how many emails did you get? I know I got the day of Thanksgiving or the day before. I mean, it's too many to really recall, right? And you don't remember who everybody you got it from or anything like that. So my point is, get ahead of the holidays, right? Be different. Think outside the box. So I came up with some ideas. Again, I'm always trying to come up with ideas to help agents like yourself, as well as the agents that I have up in Michigan. I'm always trying to help them come up with creative ideas to be different and to engage and touch their clients more effectively. So here's a few things I had. Is number one, let's write some handwritten notes. It could be a handwritten Christmas card. It could be anything, right? But a handwritten, if you think about it, when you get something handwritten to you, A, I read it, and B, I remember who it was from, and I remember throughout the year because it's so infrequent in today's society. Number two, movies. I know my partner does this up in Michigan. He rents out a movie theater, invites all his clients, their families, and they watch a holiday movie. It's an amazing idea. He's been doing it a long time. Clients absolutely love it. It's a family affair, and it's totally engaging, and everyone remembers it. Number three, I thought like the 12 Days of Christmas, right? It's a song, so hey, let's play off it. Why not do something where, it doesn't have to be flashy, but maybe a giveaway for the 12 days prior to Christmas. It could be something small where you have all your clients in a database, it randomly picks somebody, and boom, they get a gift. It's just something that's engaging. It'll be 12 days in succession. So you're going to see a lot of engagement, extreme engagement from your client base. And that means future clients as well. Bring everybody into the picture, right? It's the holidays. Again, number four, share daily. This could be something you do in addition. But look, holidays are a lot of fun, but they're also really stressful. Being authentic and maybe a daily video that you're just sending exclusively to your clients doesn't have to be on social media where you're sharing just the shit you're going through, right? Hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Do I buy this gift or that gift? Oh, I was at the store today. This is something, right? You're becoming real. You're a real person to your clients. That's what you want to kind of draw in. And given it's the holidays, everyone's going to be a little bit more receptive because, again, they're going through the same shit. Number five would be an open house, whether it be your house or possibly a client's house that is open to it, pun intended. Hold an open house. It could be for 2 to 3 hours. You could have some hors d'oeuvres. You could have maybe a cocktail or two, play some good classical Christmas music, just kind of like a hangout session, right? Have maybe a movie playing in the background, something fun for kids. But again, it's something that's going to be engaging, and it's going to be something that's going to be rememberable. And the last thing I had was just in person. Nothing beats in person. Look, I'm old school. I love it. Again, if you know me and you've sat down with me before, I love coffee and I love just engaging with people on a personal level. I love it. Very enjoyable for me. What could be possibly better than getting, that's my 10-minute notice. I'm close. What was I going to say? What would be better than in person? You're not going to be able to do this for every client, but for the clients that you absolutely need to, that have been the best to you throughout the year, and it could be the smallest deal, but they were the most enjoyable. Showing up at their doorstep, offering them something in person to remember you by for the Christmas holiday would be priceless. All right, y'all. Look, hey, we're in December. We only have, another 4 weeks. We all know that it's going to be a little bit slower. The holidays are a time for family, friends, travel. There's not going to be as much activity going on, but the optimism is still out there. It's still strong, which means you should be touching your clients to prepare them for 2025. If I could be of any help, you need a flyer, you need, a pre-approval, you need me to run some numbers, whatever it is, I am always working and I'm here to help you grow your business. Just reach out, text, email, or pick up the phone and give me a call. All right, y'all, have a great, blessed week, and I'll talk to y'all on Friday with the Friday wrap up. Cheers.